Don't be telling me how to drive and shit. You couldn't drive a 2-button elevator.
You couldn't drive Miss Daisy.
Whatever that means. You couldn't drive a short bus full of slow kids to the zoo.
Yeah, because I'd be too distracted by you. You'd be sitting up front in your special helmet, trying to hump my leg.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Binge List, where today we will be reviewing the movie El Camino, a Breaking Bad movie.
Well, Walter White returns for one scene. That's a flashback.
I'm Curt.
I'm Paul.
And we're about to take you into this movie called El Camino. So, Paul, what'd you think, man?
Man, now we did Joker last week, right? And
we destroyed Joker last week.
One of the knocks is that it had no plot. This movie had no plot either. I mean, think about it. The whole movie is about Jesse Pinkman getting out of town. Really not a plot, per se.
True. But
I mean, his antagonists are the police. Every police in town. and
the next
and
town.
it's like, what? How are they going to make this interesting? That was really what was selling me on this concept, because there's not a plot per se, but Vince Gilligan is a magician, man.
He is, man.
He's
a special guy.
He managed to get to delve deep into that brain of it and actually give us a story. And the story happens mostly in flashbacks, because we find out what transpired from the moment the neo-Nazis start making Jesse Pinkman start cooking meth because on Breaking Bad, the show primarily focused on Walter White. Those last few episodes, we didn't really. There was an interval where he was cooking for the neo-Nazis, where we don't know what happened.
Yeah, it was like fast forward 1 or 2 years later, and Walt comes back, or Heisenberg comes back to seek his revenge.
Right
at the end of the season.
So I can see why they could have done this as like an epilogue episode. That wouldn't have been cool if they had released it. Well, I don't know if it would have been. Well,
at
cool.
least,
but they could not release this episode when Breaking Bad ended, because the whole focus of that series was on Walter White. So when he dies, there's no real reason to follow Jesse. But as a way, there's so much interest. There was so much interest created by people wondering what happened to Jesse, because it's obviously he just can't go back home.
Well, what's interesting about this story is, originally Vince Gilligan was going to kill Jesse's character off at the end of the first season, right? But the kid had such charisma and such natural raw talent, and he resonated with the audience so well that he became a staple, only number 2 to Bryan Cranston, as Walter White. So I've watched a lot of. I'm a huge Breaking Bad fanboy. I'll admit it from the go. So anytime I come across something on YouTube or on the internet about it, I read or I watch the videos. And I've watched a lot of interviews with Vince Gilligan. And he said that he just wanted to tell the story of what happened to Jesse. He said simply because he liked working with Aaron Paul so much. And that he knew that people were interested in the story going forward. So break down in as few words as possible what transpired. Where does it start?
Well, I mean, the first thing he does, of course, they should make a movie about Skinny Pete and Badger. Dude, those guys.
Remind me to tell you something. I thought about that. So.
Man, they have a scene. They show him escaping again, and then they cut to Skinny Pete and Badger, and I could listen to those guys just talk about stuff. I was kind of jealous.
Don't they remind you like friends you grew up with? I had friends like that.
I don't think I had friends that funny.
I did. I had friends like that because we would cut up and just be ragging on each other hardcore. But anyway, continue. I'm sorry.
But no, I just sitting there listening to them, and they just I forget what they were talking about, but it was so they would start insulting each other, and it was just so freaking funny, man. And I was just like, you could literally make a show of those two guys, put a camera in front of them, and just have them watching something. Because they had some episodes of Breaking Bad where they did that too, where they were talking about Star Trek and stuff. And you see whose house? That's Skinny Pete's house. He has all this Star Trek memorabilia on the wall, and I think that he had like their VHS tapes or something.
Yeah, they were both, and it was the episode of they were making up an episode of Star Trek. Yeah, I remember that.
But so Jesse Pinkman, he goes there first, and they, he's trying to hide his car. They pull the car in the back, and he tells him, "I got to get out of here. I got to get rid of this car." And he calls what they bring back so many characters from Breaking Bad. They bring back the garbage guy that got rid of the RV.
Junkyard guy, yeah,
and he
with the magnets.
Yeah, he comes over there and he's not just going to take this car. He checks it first for electronics, and lo and behold, he gets to the back of the car with this little scanner, and it starts beeping. The low jack on the car.
Never seen an old man run so fast in my life.
He got out of there. So Jesse knows all of a sudden that the cops are on their way. And
But how thorough of the neo-Nazi gang to get their cars set up with low jack?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Does every car have low jack?
No.
Because you remember Jesse Pinkman's, when they get kidnapped by, what's that guy's name? Tuco?
Tuco, yeah.
Oh, God, who's the DE agent? His brother.
Oh, crap. Schrader.
Yeah. What was his first name? I can't remember.
Dang it.
I'm about to look this up. But anyway, his people watching know what we're talking about. He tracks down Jesse Pinkman and Walt because his car has low jack. Remember?
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that.
I do.
And then they have that whole shootout between him and Tuco. But what's his name? Okay, well, I'm looking at the wrong one. But anyway, it's going to come to me after the show probably. But anyway, so he Hank Schrader, right.
Hank Schrader. Sorry, guys.
So yeah, he's Skinny Pete gives him his car. They pretty much exchange cars, and he drives away. And then I think there's a flashback to him, and Todd was in this. Todd's the
co-star of this movie.
Yeah, pretty much. Todd's the man-child serial killer guy. Creepy guy.
Complete loon, man.
He is so freaking creepy.
But, dude, they couldn't get him down to weight. Did you notice that?
Yeah, he was really fat.
He was really, I ain't got no room to talk, but I'm also not playing a character that was supposed to be before the end of the series.
It was kind of distracting. That happened to a bunch of people. You remember how Walter White's wife, what was her name?
Damn, Lord, we're not going to do this again, are we?
I'm forgetting everybody's name. Hey, it did end in 2013. But
that's what I'm saying. That dude had 10 years to of living off that Breaking Bad money.
Right.
And he got little chubs there. And I guess they couldn't get him. He's a good actor, though. The kid is
He's great. But he's such a freaking kid. But
I think
you remember when he's driving down the road and the truck passes and he goes like this, like a little kid.
Yeah, where he was singing that song.
Yeah, he was singing that song. But he does this because he thinks the truck driver is going to honk his horn, and he does it. But it's like, what kind of freaking...
And he does have that childlikeness, but with this underlying ruthless murderer with no emotion.
He doesn't have empathy.
So he's a psychopath.
It's like killing somebody is like stepping on the ant.
Yeah, he's a psychopath. I mean,
he is.
He's the perfect definition in psychology of a psychopath. He has no normal emotions. He doesn't feel.
Yeah, because you remember that scene where, okay, we're getting ahead of ourselves. So we have a bunch of flashbacks of basically Todd is the neo-Nazis are keeping Jesse in the cage, and for some reason his Uncle Jack and all the other neo-Nazis they went on vacation or something.
He bought a boat, and so they went to this big lake to go drive the boat.
So they're not there. So Todd tells Jesse he needs his help with something. And if he tries to escape, they're going to kill Brock. So he doesn't tie Jesse up or anything. He just takes him out in the El Camino, and they go to his apartment.
He had a badass apartment, man. That thing was awesome.
Well, they go in an apartment. And Jesse's just like, what is he bringing me over here? And they're just talking. I forget what they're talking about.
They were trying to put the roof on the El Camino, remember?
Oh, that's right. They
the back camper shell type thing.
He has Jesse help him do that first.
And he's like, is that all you wanted me to do?
They go up his apartment, but then he takes Jesse in this room, and there's a dead lady, sitting in the middle of the room.
With a belt wrapped around her neck.
Right. So he needs Jesse to help him hide this body. And Jesse says, why did you the woman was his housekeeper. And he says, why did you kill this woman? And he killed her because she discovered his hiding place for all his illicit money.
Right.
He has these hollowed out encyclopedias. And she found one, I guess she pulled out one and found all his money. She actually brought it to him and said, look, like he didn't know that the money was there. And he immediately kills her. I thought that was kind of it can't really be foreshadowing. I guess it can since it happened in the past. But did you notice he killed her in the same way that Jesse kills him?
Yeah.
In the season finale?
Yeah, I didn't think about that until you just said that. But yeah. But I mean, and in Vince Gilligan's brilliant mind, he doesn't waste any time telling a story that doesn't play a major part in going forward. Right. So even this part, there was a reason that they showed this flashback.
They showed this because Todd says he can't keep the money. Since she found that money, he's kind of concerned about keeping the encyclopedias. But he's going to put it in some place nobody will ever find it. But he doesn't tell Jesse where it is.
Yeah, but he said it's going to require some engineering.
Yeah. So Jesse knows there's money in his apartment. Jesse's got to get out of town. So Jesse goes to his apartment, which has already been searched by the police. There's crime scene tape on it. And he goes in there, and he can't find the money. And he starts tearing the place apart. And finally, he figures out, should we be giving spoilers? I'm assuming people watching this.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're watching this, you want to know what happened.
He finds it in the lining of the refrigerator, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
I would have never thought of hiding it.
But, I mean, you can't forget that the two cops show up.
Two cops, yeah.
Yeah, two cops show up. And Jesse's trying to hide from him. Yeah. And then the nosy neighbor comes by and is trying to insert himself into the investigation, which he thinks these are two cops. We all do at this point.
Yeah.
And then one of them gets too close to Jesse, and Jesse has his gun, and he calls the other guy in there, blah, blah, whatever. You need to watch this show. But
it was tense, man.
And so calls the other guy in, and I knew when he said, "Hey, Lieutenant, can you come here?"
I still thought they were cops. I thought I was thinking, oh, he called him lieutenant because he's probably a sergeant or something.
Okay, fair enough. I agree with that.
And the guy, and I'm thinking, oh, he knows something's wrong because he gave him the incorrect rank. That's what I'm thinking. But it turns out
that they're
not cops at all.
They're not cops at all, and
they're just associates.
They get the drop. It was pretty slick how they got the drop on him by psyching him out. There were a bunch of cops downstairs.
Yeah, they told him. Yeah,
and he's like, so he gave himself up.
But there's no cops downstairs.
And so then he finally realizes that these are not cops, and Jesse just needs to pull the trigger sometimes, man.
Yeah, I would have shot that guy.
That has happened to him on more than one occasion.
But if he would have shot that guy, the nosy neighbor would have heard, and then
But I mean, he's already a wanted man,
Yeah, he
could have gotten out of there before the cops got there.
But he uses that excuse to get that guy not to shoot him. He's like, if you shoot me, you're gonna be screwed. You ain't gonna have time to get this money out of here.
That's true.
So the man gives him part of the money, a third of the money, which is
it was $250,000.
Yeah, it was a lot of money. So
because the reason I know how much that was because when he goes to the fixer guy, the vacuum cleaner guy, if you watch the show,
And we might want to mention that it's Robert Forrester plays the guy.
Yes.
They never say his name.
Yeah, Rip Robert Forrester.
But he died the day of the premiere. He had brain cancer, it turns out. I'm wondering if he had it when he was filming those scenes. I doubt it. But they said he had a short fight with brain cancer, and he died the day of the premiere. So, But Jesse goes to him, and this guy is a man of principle. He won't take Jesse unless Jesse pays him for the last time he was supposed to go with him, and this time. So Jesse actually needs $250?
Yeah, and that was all the money. Well, he was actually a little short.
He was short $1,800, and he's like, no, I need it all. So Jesse goes back to he finds out those fake cops are actually welders. They help weld some of the his restraints when he was in the lab. So he's kind of got a motive for revenge here.
Well, you got to remember, he goes to his parents' house, and that's where he rearms himself.
Yeah.
He tricks them into leaving and taking all the cops that are watching their house.
Two guns. That's an important fact.
Yes, remember that. I knew something was in his pocket, though. I'm just saying.
That was cool how he did that, though.
But
so he goes to see these welders, and he just asked them for $1,800, and the guy's like,
and you'll never see me again.
What kind of gun is that in your waistband? And he's like, it's a 22. Oh, 22 what? Let's see if you... And remember, these guys... I don't know why I'm saying remember, because... Anyway, because I haven't explained this part yet. These guys, these welders, are having a party with some of their friends. They're snorting cocaine. And
getting hookers.
Not hookers, strippers.
Strippers, sorry.
They have 3 strippers over there, and they're having a little party. And this guy is high on cocaine when Jesse comes in there, so he's feeling a little full of himself, and he tells Jesse he can have all the money if he can draw him. And Jesse's sitting there, has one hand in his pocket, one hand kind of resting on the other gun in his waistband. And the guy counts down, and Jesse just shoots him through his jacket because he has a second gun.
And what's important to remember here is Vince Gilligan has talked about how all of this whole story, this whole Breaking Bad story, was inspired by old westerns. So this was just another nod to, the old showdown at high noon, gunfight.
Because that's pretty much the climax of the movie.
That was the most violent and exciting part of the whole movie. I mean, because there was probably 50 rounds fired in that sequence, and a whole lot of missing. But when Jesse hit him, he hit him right between the eyes. Well, he loaded up the first guy, and he just shot him all to pieces. Then the other guy went for his gun. And so then Jesse pulls the 22 and fires at that guy and misses him a lot. Then he dives and grabs Homeboy's 45, unloads, and I thought I counted too many shots for the clip, but we won't go there.
Well, don't they have 14 though?
Well, it just depends on the gun. But I would think a 45 would have 9 to 14. But there was a whole bunch of shots.
That guy didn't even shoot though, did he?
Yes, he missed Jesse every time. That guy unloaded his gun too.
No, I'm talking about the first guy.
No, the first guy never got his gun off before Jesse loaded him up.
So it was full clip then.
Right, yeah, it was a full clip, but it was still...
There's still too many shots.
Because... Or when he was holding the gun on the leftover guys, it was empty. But the slide wasn't locked back. And that's what happens when a gun runs out of bullets, an semi-automatic pistol, the slide will lock back. And so, anyway, it was still a great scene. And then Jesse blows the place up.
You think about what happened. There's really not a lot that happened. He goes to Skinny Pete's and Badgers, gets a new car. He goes to the apartment, gets the money. He goes to the hideaway guy.
We'll call him a vacuum guy.
Yeah, the vacuum cleaner guy. And then he goes, the climax of the movie, he goes to the welding shop and he kills the guy. And then he goes back to that's it. There really wasn't a lot to it.
Most of the time was spent.
They filled the spaces in the movie with a lot of flashbacks. They had a flashback with Mike.
That's what it opened up with.
Yeah.
The movie
they were discussing where they were going to go if they need to get out of town. And Mike's like, I would go.
And what is the location they're at? Where Mike died, where Walt killed Mike. They were at the river.
But they were discussing that, and Mike says that he would go to Alaska, which I kind of had a problem with that. No one would go there. Who wants to freeze their balls off?
I know, especially you've been living in New Mexico your whole life.
I had a problem with that, him going to Alaska. I mean, sure, it probably is a good place to hide out, but you probably die of hypothermia or something. This is a dangerous place to live.
Well, I mean, it was like this. I mean, he took Walt somewhere super cold. Remember?
Yeah, that was New Hampshire, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was somewhere up north, but I think, like, because it gets so cold, like, people's minds run slower up there, so they'd never put it together that he was the bad guy.
I mean, it's a good place to hide out, but I'd go to Hawaii or something. I mean, I guess he didn't have any money at that point, though, did he?
Well, did he?
He gave all the money to the guy.
No, all he needed was $1,800 of that money he got from Homeboy that he killed.
Oh, I forgot about that.
So he still had.
Yeah, but not.
And the other dude's third.
Did he get that guy?
Of course he did.
But where was it? The guy told him where to find his.
No, he still had all the money in that bag. He had the 2/3 of the money in that bag. The other dude hadn't gotten his money yet.
Oh, okay. So so he had a little bit of,
potentially. I don't know. I mean, they didn't really.
So he had what, $250? That's not going.
Let's just say he had another third, and he took $1,800 and he had $250,000. I mean, you could by yourself. You could live pretty good on that for a while.
For like 2 years.
And if you used it to start a business.
I mean, I would, if I were young, I would buy a house. But how would you do the transaction?
With somebody shady?
That's the whole thing. I was like, I guess it would, it would last them. But yeah, it was interesting. It wasn't, like I said, I won't say it had a great plot, but it kind of gave closure to the series, and it was very enjoyable. And I do like Aaron Paul. I mean, he's going to be forever known as that character. He's going to be on Westworld. Did you see that?
No. He was on a show, on Amazon Prime. There was some show about a cult or something.
Yeah, he's been everywhere.
But
he hasn't found another Breaking Bad size hit yet. But I think he's supposed to be on that next season of Westworld, and it looks pretty interesting because they're leaving the island to go into the real world. So I think he's supposed to be the character.
I've got to catch up on Westworld.
I didn't enjoy the second season as much as the first. No Anthony Hopkins.
Well, to answer the question, though, that we teased with. Is Bryan Cranston in this movie?
Yes, he is.
Yes,
But
he is. But he's only there for a flashback scene.
Yeah.
And it was probably, was it even 5 minutes?
Yeah, it's probably about 5.
Somewhere in that neighborhood. But I'm going to go back to Badger and Skinny Pete because, you know, I was kind of interested to see, like, because in one of the teasers, they had Skinny Pete in interrogation and they were interrogating him.
Yeah, that's
So I thought that was going to be part of the movie.
It really wasn't necessary, though.
I guess
I think they shot that just for the
promotional use.
Promotional, yeah.
But hey, Vince Gilligan, I would rather watch a show that is built around Skinny Pete and Badger than Better Call Saul. So
no, don't say that. Better Call Saul is awesome.
It is, but that would be awesome too.
Yeah. He tried that though. You know he used to write for the X-Files.
Yes.
And he made that show The Lone Gunman.
I did not know that.
He did a spinoff of X-Files called The Lone Gunman, and it got canceled. So and those guys were pretty much kind of like Skinny Pete and Badger. But sometimes you do shows with like side characters that don't. Now, you know, Better Call Saul is the exception.
Well, then how about just a movie then? Let's do a Badger and Skinny Pete movie.
Something.
There's so many.
I could watch them, but I'm not sure. You know, that's just me.
But I mean, what happened to them in that 2-year period that they now have owned this fairly nice house? One of them is carrying about I guess they're both carrying about $4,000 each.
Didn't they get like $50,000 from Walt?
I don't remember. That's what I'm saying. I don't know where they got.
Remember when he went to his rich friend's house?
Right, and they held the laser pointer.
Yeah, he gave them like $50,000 each, I think.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he gave them a buttload of money. I think it was $50,000. It might have been more.
Okay. Well, that explains where they got all that money.
Yeah.
And that house, and those chairs that had glow-in-the-dark cup holders.
At least they spend it on something they enjoy. Man, I can respect that. You know?
Yeah. I mean, they didn't go
because oh my God! As a responsible adult, I'm always trying to think of how to save money. It's nice to see somebody just waste money on something that they love. I mean, it's not like they have family, so I'm kind of envious.
So anyway,
I'm saying this knowing all this crap I got from Amazon.
I know.
Sitting up in my room.
I can't say anything.
My studios.
I can't say anything either. Well, what would you give this?
Oh, I give it an A. It's man, you want to see it. I mean, it's
definitely.
I give it a 5.
Yeah, I would give it a 5 too.
I fully recommend that you watch this. It's a great. Because on the binge list, I just recommend whether people watch something. I really don't.
Oh, okay.
I don't really give them a rating, but yeah, if I were rating it, I would give it a 5 or.
And
A,
well,
whatever.
okay. Well, then I recommend you watch this as well.
Put it on your binge list.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming by, and we will see you guys on the next video.
See you when we see you. Thanks for watching.